As you know, SIP messages are plain text, meaning that if we were to capture a SIP packet travelling over the network, without any problem at all, we could read the whole content of the message. So what? Big deal. Do we really care if someone discovers what codecs I have or who I'm dialing? Well, actually, we may care very much. SIP messages sometimes carry sensitive information in SIP headers or in the payload, information we don't want others to have. More frequently, perhaps, SIP messages carry important authentication data that, in the wrong hands, could be used to impersonate someone, perhaps to hijack calls or get access to services or data they shouldn't have. Of course, we need to prevent this, and it's something we can do through Secure SIP or SIP-S. In this lesson, we'll discuss Secure SIP, how SIP-S messages are sent, and the difference between regular SIP and Secure SIP-S. Now, imagine Alice wants to call Dave without her messages being maliciously intercepted. The key to this kind of transport security is not preventing others from getting the request, but preventing them from reading the request, something achieved through encryption inherent in a different transport protocol, not UDP or even TCP, but TLS or Transport Layer Security. Let's look for a moment at TLS. In a secure interaction, each user has two TLS encryption keys, a public key and a private key. To begin the session, they exchange security certificates signed by a well-known third-party certificate authority, or CA. Because Dave trusts the CA and the CA trusts Alice, receiving Alice's signed certificate, Dave too can trust Alice. And the same is true for Alice and Dave. In exchanging certificates, they also agree a cipher suite. Alice then obtains Dave's public key and uses it to encrypt her messages. Dave in turn uses his private key to decipher those messages back into plain text that he can now parse and act on. That way, if a message is intercepted along the way, it doesn't matter. Without Dave's private key, the pair to the public key the message was encrypted with, it cannot be read. In summary then, SIP messages can be sent securely using TLS, that's Transport Layer Security. Messages are encrypted by the upstream entity using the downstream entity's public key and deciphered by the downstream entity using the downstream entity's private key. Encrypted messages can only be deciphered with the downstream entity's private key, something which is never shared. Public keys, on the other hand, are shared after exchange of certificates that certify identity.